Hey, hey, Ninja. I know I didn't give you guys any warning that I was going to go live, but you know what? Sometimes you just got to do it, right? Okay, this diva light, look at what it's doing. I'm going to take these off. These are just eye strain glasses anyway, so I don't need them to see. I didn't give you any warning that I was going live, but I feel like sometimes you just got to do the dang thing, right? It's been a hot minute since I've gone live for you guys. And I'm wanting to do maybe a little series about busting burnout. I'm thinking about turning this into a series, but for now, this is going to be a Misty Monday video, which I haven't done in a while. And it's really my goal to get more consistent doing these for you guys inside of the free group, the Life Ninja Hot Mess to Success Home Biz Lifeline group. Yeah, so let me know what you think about that. I will try to give you some warning next time and actually start planning these out soon. But for now, y'all, it's been crazy. Okay, so we just moved and I'm still setting up my office, which is also going to be sort of my sewing room. I don't know if I'll get much time to sew while we're living here. It's kind of a temporary space, but it's been super crazy. We had to move my mom as well, like help her get all of her stuff into a storage unit at the same time that we were moving here. And so it's been a little insane. Hey, as you're hopping on, say hi. Let me know, how you're doing. How's your week starting off? And what I would like to talk to you about today. Well, also let me know that you can hear me. So I'm kind of watching for comments, but this is my first time using this mic. So let me know if you can hear me. I bought this microphone months ago and I tried to test it out and it did not work. And it was super quiet. But I tested it earlier today and it seemed like it was working. But things go wrong when you go live. So let me know if you can hear me, hopefully, because I see one or two people just starting to pop on. Hey, Kristen in Utah. Let me know if you can hear me okay. So let me grab my notes. I'm excited to talk to you today. And I gotta fix my notes here. They're decided to be super tiny. Awesome, you can hear me. Great. Thanks for popping on with me. Okay, so I may not be able to see comments super well. I'm going to try and flip back and forth, but I like to look at my notes and make sure that I don't miss a thing. We're going to talk about closing open loops and how to stop thinking about work, okay? Because I want to start talking to you more often about avoiding burnout, using fewer mental calories to do your home biz, keeping better organized with your stuff, and systematizing and doing all these things that help you with your productivity, help you get yourself out of home biz quicksand, I like to call it. Help you not hate your home job that you started because you really wanted to create this awesome lifestyle for yourself. And then maybe you suddenly realize that it's a lot of work. It's just a lot of work. Like, raise your hand if you think that running a home business is hard work. Maybe harder than you planned. Let me know. All right. So a term that every entrepreneur, solopreneur, entrepreneur, whatever you want to call yourself, should know about, and I didn't even really know about this until very recently, is called the Zeigarnik effect. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing it right. Maybe let me know. The Zeigarnik effect. If you're anything like I was, I highly suspect that you don't know this term and you probably have never heard of it before. Like me, but I think you're going to be able to resonate with it quite a bit. Okay, so understanding this concept is what can really help you gain a better separation between work and relaxation while also being more focused and more productive. So what is the Zeigarnik effect. Man, try to say that 5 times fast. Essentially, the Zeigarnik effect is it explains why we sometimes find it hard to let something go out of our brains, out of our mental space. So, if you have heard of it, it's probably because you heard of the story of how it was first discovered by psychologist Bluma Zeigarnik. Man, that's quite a name. Okay, so as the story goes, one day she was enjoying dinner at a restaurant with her friends and was just amazed to find that the waitress serving their table was able to remember all of their names and all of their orders without needing to write anything down. Okay, I know that always baffles me how people can do that because I do not have that kind of memory, but we're going to keep with it. All right, so what really stood out to Zeigarnik most was when she returned to the restaurant because she forgot her purse. The waitress didn't even recognize her. So, how do you think it's possible this waitress could remember so much detail about her and her friends and just immediately forget everything like that? Okay, I'm going to see if there's any other comments. Kristen raised her hand. Yeah, I feel you, girl. Okay, so this is what, how what we now know as the Zeigarnik effect, we're just learning about this today, right? Came about. So essentially, when the brain is working on something actively, it keeps all the info and ideas relating to that subject, like right at hand on the front burner, right? So not only that, but it also becomes much more tuned into that frequency. You're more likely to spot things relating to that subject you're focusing on. And you're more likely to overhear people talking about that subject. Like, let me know if that's ever happened to you. Like, maybe you are thinking about getting a new car, and there's this one very specific car that you're looking up, and all of a sudden you notice that like everybody in your city is driving this car. And maybe even the color that you wanted, but you never noticed that before. You're like, oh my gosh, everybody just bought this car yesterday. No, it's because your brain is just more like attuned to that, whereas normally it would kind of put that information aside and hardly even notice, right? All right, just checking for any comments. Okay, so this is what's sometimes referred to as one sec. So I tried to stick a cutting mat onto my wall with some of that clear sticky tape. I don't know if you've seen it. It's like really sticky. Anyway, it just fell down. So you can't see it, but totally just fell down. So maybe that wasn't the greatest idea, but I was trying to find a place to put it in this tiny room, and that wall just seemed like the best spot for it. Okay, so anyway, this is what's referred to as an open loop. So once you consider that task is completed, you close the loop. That's what happened with this waitress, right? She had this open loop of needing to focus on and remember these people's names and their orders, but as soon as they left the restaurant, she closed the mental loop and the information kind of went bye-bye, right? So what does all this have to do with you as a solopreneur? How can we use this information, right, to benefit us with our business? So as a solopreneur, you're going to be juggling a lot of different tasks all at once. Maybe you've noticed that already, right? If you've been doing your home biz for a while, you have to wear a lot of hats. And basically, if you don't have a VA yet or multiple VAs yet, you're probably noticing that you have to do basically every task needed for your business, which means 1 minute you're the bookkeeper. The next minute you are the marketing specialist. And then maybe later on, you're the customer service person, right? You're doing all the things. And chances are that some of these tasks are going to stay open when you switch off the computer and go downstairs to be with your family. But you need to think about how you can close that loop, how you can switch off in your mind, right? How do you close that loop? If there's any ideas and thoughts relating to work still lingering in your mind, then you might find that you're not switching it off, right? It's not closing. You might find it's really difficult to focus on downtime with your family or whatever else it is that you choose to do, because your brain is still churning over and working out the problems that you were struggling with during the day. You're still thinking about that thing that you left unfinished when you stepped away from the computer. So this is why a lot of us find it so hard to switch off from work when our day is over. And it's the reason that many of us end up stressed and burned out as a result, or working well into the night, right? You think you got to like keep working. You get, maybe after dinner, you got this idea still turning. You're like, I got to go get back on the computer, right? I got to finish up that thing I was working on. And you keep going and keep going. And before you know it, it's like midnight and your husband put your kids to bed and you're still working because you got to hustle, right? You got it in your mind that you got to hustle and you got to keep going and work all the time. And you're just not closing those loops. Okay, so let me know if you can relate to that. I know this is something that I have struggled with. So what's the simple solution? Before I tell you, I want to add that first, it is important to make sure that you are setting specific work hours for yourself, even if your work time has to be broken up into multiple chunks throughout the day. Like maybe you work during your kids' nap time and you work after your kids go to bed or something like that. Yes, you still need to have those chunks, and it doesn't have to be done at 5 p.m., right? But you need to make sure you put those boundaries. You do not have to hustle your face off so hard that your family time and your me time suffers for it. Put some boundaries on your work time so that it doesn't take over your life, right? Just set those boundaries so that you know that unless there's something, maybe like a large project you're working on, some like special situation, that you shut off, right? You're okay with stepping away and going to your family. I know when I worked a day job, I went to work at a certain time and I was done at a certain time, and I couldn't bring my work home with me for most of my jobs. And so when I was done, I was done. And I may have still had some open loops in there that I was thinking about. I wasn't going back to go work on that stuff while I was at home. And I definitely have noticed since I became an entrepreneur that it was really hard, especially in those early stages when I thought I needed to hustle so hard, that it was hard to just set those boundaries because I thought I needed to be working all the time. I had so much I wanted to do, so many big, great ideas, and so many people I wanted to help, right? But my family was kind of suffering for it. My kids were starting to notice that I wasn't giving them as much like one-on-one attention, right? And that was important to them to have that time for me. So make sure that your family time, your me time is not suffering, that you are just setting those boundaries as well as you can. I'm just going to check for comments real quick. All right, so Kristen says, is that the same as cognitive bias when you see your dream car everywhere? I mean, yeah, that's kind of similar, right? Like your brain is just attuned to that thing that you're focusing on. Okay, so how do you switch off when it's time to be done working? What is that simple solution that I promised you? You got to find a way to symbolically like put a pin in whatever it is that you were doing. You got to just put a pin in it. Did you ever watch Bolt? It's like, put a pin in it. Let's put a pin in that and come back to it later, right? You've got to find a way to symbolically stick a pin in it. And that can mean maybe you write things down so they're off your mind. It could mean finding a way to complete the project. Okay. For me, I find if it's like a longer project, it's really good for me to have a to-do list. Like I know where I'm at in the process. I need to have like a workflow that I'm working through and have it written down. That really helps me so that I don't just have all these like loose ideas floating around. I know exactly what needs to be done and how it fits into the project or the task that I'm doing. And so I know that when I come back and sit down to work on it, I know exactly where to pick up where I left off. Versus when I don't do that, it takes me so much time to get back into it when I do sit down to work on it, because I've kind of forgotten where I'm at with it or what do I need to do next. And, it just gets all kind of jumbled around, or I might get an idea about it. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, I need and then it's like just turning. Like when you have those random ideas outside of your work time, write it down and let it go, right? Like just write it down, let it go. And when you are working and having that work time, it's really important to have, especially if it's like a bigger thing that you're doing, just have all those tasks listed out. That's really going to help you to just reduce the amount of mental calories it takes to get through the task, but also to just know that it's okay. Like it just kind of lets you release it when you walk away from it, because you know that when you come back, you know exactly how to pick it back up. So let me know if that makes sense. You'll also find that there are actually a whole lot of smaller projects that will, kind of compete for your attention at any given time. All those little random things that you feel like you need to get done and they're not getting done. Maybe you're putting them off or whatever. It's just, you're an entrepreneur. You got a lot to do, right? Perhaps you have some emails that you need to answer, or phone calls you need to make, that little bill you need to pay. Like sometimes your home life and your work life get a little jumbled together, right? These small tasks can end up really stealing your mental bandwidth just by being in an open state, right? So if anything is really quick to finish, try to aim to finish it right away. Just resolve to finish it right away. So consider subscribing to the 1 minute rule. So any job that takes 1 minute, or let's even say 2 minutes, right, or less to complete, just get it done right after you receive it, right? If you get that bill in the mail, just pay it now, right? Don't let it sit on your desk for a couple of weeks and then you forget it because you've done all these other things and it's just, like looming there on your desk. Like just get it done, right? If that email only takes you, I have some emails that I send out where I'm like, hey, reply back with a heck yeah if you're excited, about doing this or that. And I get a lot of heck yeah emails. And it's important to me to respond back to those people. And I find that if I see it and I don't do it right away, it can get like kind of moved down in my massive amounts of emails that are coming in every day. But if I see it, I really try to just respond right away, because otherwise it turns into this thing where I'm like, oh, I got to go back and do that. Oh, I got to go do that. And it's like, it's an open loop, right? Whereas if I can just knock it out right away, I'm not worried about like, oh, it just took me, a week to respond back to that person because I kept not doing it, right? So if it would take you 1 to 2 minutes or less to complete, just knock it out. Just get it out of the way, right? So I would love to hear what you got from this training. And one thing that you're going to do moving forward to close the loop and stop thinking about work so you can focus on your family or your me time, whatever it is that, you do when you're not working that really lights you up and, makes you feel like you're living that lifestyle, your dream lifestyle, right? So I'm just going to check for any other questions. I don't see anything. So I think that's it. Hey, thanks for popping on. And let me know if you'd like me to do more of these sort of Misty Mondays and maybe some tips to inspire you, help you with productivity, organization, automation, all that kind of stuff. Kristen says, I love the 1 minute rule and we'll totally give that a try this week. Yeah, let me know how it goes. All right, so that's it. I'm gonna let you get back to your Monday evening. I hope you have a great week. I'm gonna go make some dinner for my family and shut off. I'm gonna try and listen to my own advice and shut it down and walk away. So I'll see you later. Bye, guys.